couch. Oh, it is recording. Okay, cool. All right, beautiful. So 10s, 10s, 10s. Okay, I see all these 10s. Now, let me ask you this. In terms of what you're getting out of it, okay, this is important. So I see a lot of 10s. What you're getting out of it, now I want to see on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you putting back out there? What are you turning around that you're taking? Y'all are taking in a lot of 10s I see. What are you putting back out? How are you applying in terms of rate yourself in terms of putting it back out there? Okay. Everybody notices lower numbers, right? Okay, so that's one of the first things that I want to challenge you on, right? So we all made a commitment, and typically you see this. I was having a conversation with Kendra about this the other day, which, by the way, is everybody okay? Today, I really want to focus on, you're not going to get any technique from me today. Tomorrow, you're going to get incredibly in part 2 of the Ultimate Prover Challenge. I'm going to give you specific structure. I'm going to give you the exact questions to ask to be able to filter and qualify the right people into your community. So my question is today, is it okay if I just have a conversation with y'all and start to really talk more about mindset and challenge your mindset today? Is that okay? Okay, I got some thumb. Just give me, if your screen's on, give me a thumbs up. Okay, and if you're in the chat, okay, I see a lot of yeses, a lot of okays. Yeah, so I know I look a little crazy today. That's because baby girl last night did not, she was up a lot. And then I had an early morning private yoga session here, which was great, got me awake. I'm definitely a little tight. I'm a lot looser now. So it's been an amazing day. I've got so much to be grateful for. And it's so funny because the gratitude aspect, if I always go back to gratitude, and sometimes it's challenging. Would you all agree? When you're freaking tired, when things are not necessarily feel like they're going, it's funny because most of us wait till things are perfect and we're like, oh, I'm just so grateful. Like, hey, that's when it's easy to be grateful. Just like in business or anything else, when things are going well, it's easy to be positive. It's easy to have a great attitude. But the bottom line is that how are you? Is it the same way? Is your attitude the same? Is your input the same as your output? Like I just challenged. You guys said, what I'm getting in and what I'm taking in is a 10. What I'm putting back out is a 5, is a 6. Is it 7? Is it 3? Is it 2? That's what I'm going to challenge you for today is really your mindset and how is your attitude? Is it the same when you're down as when you're up? Is your mindset the same as when you're down as when you're up? So point being is this, is that you have to make a decision. Are you just going to participate? Or at some point, are you going to make a decision to take true ownership of this? And what do I mean by that, right? So we're on day, I don't know, what is it, Nick? 51 of 90 days?
Right around 50, 51, yep.
50, 51, okay? So that means that we've crossed the halfway point. But my question is how many of you have not really truly got started yet? Like I look at it, as I said, I was talking to Kendra the other day, and it's so funny because we wait till the beginning of the calendar year. We set goals or we try to set goals. We kind of put some intentions out there, things that we want, and we go to try to put those things into action. And very quickly we meet resistance, or it's not as simple as you thought it would otherwise be, right? So we fall off, and then eventually we fall off even more. And before you know it, we look back and it's like, what have I really committed to? And have I really followed through with it? Because the last thing I want you to do is at the end of 90 days, have set goals and made a commitment at the beginning of this thing. And then at the end, are you truly going to assess and base your results off of what you actually put out there, right? Because here's what I'll tell you. At the end of 90 days, there's a massive difference between participation and ownership. Y'all understand that? Massive, massive. And I will tell you, if you're going to judge the results that you're getting after 90 days and you know that you've just participated, you're ultimately just, why even finish out the next 40 days, right? In my opinion, it's a waste of your time. And it's all up in your mind. It's all in your mindset. And this is so huge because the Ultimate Prover experience and what I'm going to cover tomorrow, it carries no weight. It is absolutely, in my opinion, damn near worthless if you don't have the right mindset in place. So I kind of put a couple things down here as I was kind of thinking this morning as I was getting ready. So number one, if you're truly to assess yourself right now, would you say that you're more on the participation side or more on the ownership side? Just, I want you to drop that in the chat. Participating or owning. Now be real with yourself. This doesn't work, by the way. This does not work if you're not honest with yourself. Like, just so you know, when people become promoters, hopefully you've inspired them to do it for themselves, and you're connecting them to resources and peoples and things that will inspire them versus like managing them or dictating it, or like we talked about in my the Ultimate Prover experience, something that I was taught a long time ago. A man or woman convinced against their will is still a man or woman unconvinced. What does that mean? That means if they did not make the decision for themselves internally and they made a decision based on external influence, guess what? They will always eventually revert back to where their attitude and their mindset is, right? So this is super. So I appreciate, and I greatly appreciate y'all being honest with yourselves, because that's the first step, is being honest with yourself. So, now and now ultimately that, hey, I need to shift from a mindset of participation to a mindset of ownership, which takes me to the next one is, what's the statistic out there on traditional business, right? 9 out of every 10 businesses what? Let me read some lips. 9 out of every 10 businesses what? They fail. Now, do you think they fail because the person does not have the skill set in order to do that business? No, you guys realize it's almost never that. You get that, right? Like, I'm not going. Nick has a profession as an electrician. He was a manager. He was high level. He had a very I would say in terms of mastery, Nick has definitely put in, would you say, Nick, damn close to 10,000 hours of electrician education or actual application?
My apprenticeship was 8,000 hours before I was allowed to be an electrician. And
okay,
then I worked for another 6 years, which would have been another 12,000 hours. I had 20,000 hours of electrical study and practice.
Okay, so he had to put in 8,000 hours as an apprentice before he could actually even move into that aspect. Now, here's what's funny. Just because Nick can participate within a company and have a mastery level of skill set does not mean that Nick can go open his own electrician company and be successful. And that's where 9 out of every 10 businesses fail. And it's not because they don't know the fucking technique, excuse my language, it's because they don't have the fucking mindset. This is huge. Like, every book that I'm freaking reading right now, every book is about mindset. None of them teach me technique. None of them. When I read the autobiography or biography or whatever the hell it was of Thomas Edison or Benjamin Franklin, he didn't teach me in there any ways to further any of his inventions or do any of the shit he did. The whole book was about mindset, was about try, fail, and adjust, was about the attitude that this individual had as he had continued to move forward and press forward into success, right? This is huge. And for some of you, you don't realize that, like, just because you're in this environment and you're learning great things and you're participating and you're hearing it and some of it's being absorbed, it's a massive difference when you decide to take ownership and own stuff, like truly own it, because now that's where the biggest learning comes into place. I mean, I've seen Nick couch develop where literally he's such a coachable, willing, y'all know Nick, he's freaking nuts. And he's like that all the time. It's like the guy you take into boot camp and he's going. Dude's got tons of energy. But the difference is where I've seen the most change in Nick is because for the longest time, he was just participating as part of my team. When he made the shift to start leading and owning his own business, now it's almost, check this out, his results went backwards initially. And here's the reason why, is because now he had to start thinking for himself. Now people ask me all the time, hey, Brian, man, I want to get mentored. I don't have a mentor. I don't have a coach. Here's what they're really saying. Brian, I'm not freaking doing anything. I would like for you to motivate me to do something and coach me and guide me and mentor me. No, listen, that's not how coaching and mentorship works. You don't stand outside of the field and say, hey, I want to be coached, I want to be mentored. No, you're the bumbling idiot that's out there running around and and a coach looks and says, that person's got a ton of energy, man. They don't quit. When everyone else leaves the field, they're still out there. He may not have the best form, but you know what? We can teach form. We can fix the form. What you can't teach is a winning mentality, is a great attitude, is that has to be done internally. That has to be something that you want. Once again, y'all, if you don't get this tomorrow, the technique, it doesn't matter because you won't know what to look for. You don't even know what the hell you're filtering. So this is massive. Like it's massive. When you get into action, you'll automatically, a coach will engage you, or when you engage in coaching, you won't say, hey, I would like some mentorship or I would like some coaching. You would say, hey, listen, man, I'm in this situation. I'm getting this and this, and I don't know which path to take. I know you've been there. I know you've done it. What are some inputs? Like, do you understand? You wouldn't even be asking to be coached and mentored. You would be specifically asking about the situation or the roadblock that you're hitting or the options that you're getting. Do you see the difference here? Because like I always get it. The moment somebody says, hey, I want to be coached or mentored, I immediately know they ain't doing nothing. Because here's the reason why. I've never asked to be coached or mentored. I've literally willed it. I've literally said, hey, listen, I'm part of what you're doing. You're doing it at a higher level. I'm in this situation and I need a way to navigate it. And you know what's crazy is it's like, boom, you get some insight or some thought process or some mindset and boom, you're on to it. You're on and overcoming it and on to the next thing. So super, super big piece of this. You understand that, right? Why did 9 out of every 10 businesses fail? Not because the people don't know what they're doing, because they don't have the attitude and mindset to weather the amount of responsibility that comes with ownership. Ownership is responsibility. Some people, just so you know, you're not ready for it. Maybe I'm kind of challenging you by saying that, but the point is that I know many of you are ready for it, but you have to make the internal decision that, hey, I want to own this. So if I was to go back through and look at all the comments of the people that said owning versus participating, I should be able to literally unmute you right now and pick out any topic that we've covered in the last 51 days, and you can own it with conviction. Own it doesn't mean I took notes and I can regurgitate my notes. Owning it means, hey, since I've learned this, I've put it into action 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100, 200 times. And not only can I get on here and teach it, but I can give you the mindset, the attitude that you need to have in order to have success and have the conviction for people to say, oh my God, this person knows what they're doing. They're getting results doing it. Do you see the difference? Like right now, how many of you are taking the things that you're learning now and you're turning around in a smaller scale and you're applying them from a mindset aspect to your teams, to your, you show me your calendar for the next week and I'll tell you how successful you'll be this year. Pause for keto up. More importantly, you show me your calendar from last week and I'll tell you how successful you'll be this year. What does Grant Cardone say? The devil is the white space. The devil is the white space in your calendar. How many of you, by the way, have started reading or listening to the book, The Magic of Thinking Big? Okay, there's a little trick to that, by the way. I forgot to tell Nick this, but it's a mindset thing because I always tell people where I heard this from a mentor. It's so funny how we do unto others as what was done unto us. And in this case, he said when my mentor handed me the book, or my coach at the time handed me the book, Magic of Thinking Big, he said, read chapters 2, 12, and 13, and if you like those, go back and read the rest of the book. And here's why. Because you know what those chapters focused on? Excuse-itis, detail-itis, and procrastination. You know, some of the biggest issues we have in overcoming and learning a great mindset are those things. Like, you know, it's so incredibly important. Participating, my point is this, and I'll move on. Participating is easy. It really is. And you can absorb a lot of good things. But the longer you participate, the further you get away and the more comfortable you get participating and the further you get away from owning. And I'm just going to be honest with y'all. You are not going to have the lifestyle. You are not going to achieve the big goals that you want for yourself by just participating. There's plenty of other jobs and places out there that you can get to participate. Here you have to step up and you have to own, or at least you have to start developing an ownership mindset. You think differently, you act differently. You know, one of the coolest things that I will tell you is you start to master this and you start to master your mindset, you waste a lot less time. And that's the biggest thing tomorrow is I'm going to teach you how to, as you're building a community and as you're building a team, to not waste your time. Time is such a precious commodity, right? Like once we lose time, you guys understand we can never get it back. So it's the thing that we should be like, what does Gollum say? My precious, like your time should be your precious, right? Not things, because things come and go. We can always get things, but time is precious. And the thing that I see most people doing here in the process of, if you're participating and trying to build a business, you're wasting a shitload of time. Let me just tell you that. Big difference between owning and participating. So let's move on. Hopefully I've drilled that through. I'm going to probably say it another 15 times, but I'm just letting you know. Okay. So mindset, filtering, and qualifying. This is big. And I'm going to use some analogies along the way, because if you were at the last event when we did the playbook event, I really spent the first part of it trying to use some analogies, and it's good because I got a lot of good feedback where it's like, oh my gosh, that made sense. So first is, I want you all to think about this. I'm going to give you 3 different examples that hopefully you can create some relatability with. And that is the mindset of, hey, we already know what's so awesome about Pruvit and how we do business. Community-based marketing is very different than network marketing in terms of traditional application. I asked this question in the class. I said, hey, how many of you have previously experienced or participated in community-based marketing? And there was a bunch of people raised their hand. And I'm like, really? How's that? And they're like, well, we did this or we did that. I'm like, was that network marketing or was that community-based? My point is challenging them to say, hey, listen, you never participated in community-based marketing before. You participated in network marketing and most likely an old antiquated application of it. And therefore, probably the reason why you're not having the success that you want here is because you're not applying the principles and the mindset of community-based marketing, which for me, after 14 years in this industry, is very different than anything I've ever previously done. Very different. I've never done anything leading and inspiring people with education. I've never done anything where I truly ran and had the ability to educate and inspire people and allow them to have a true, authentic experience that led them into just insane changes in terms of their health and their belief and all these other great things. For me, I was always selling people on an opportunity. And oh, by the way, here's the thing that's going to drive the opportunity. So the point is that number one, if you're coming from somewhere else, do you have the mindset and are you applying it properly through community-based marketing? Now, this is super important because there are things that you have transferable skills, but the problem is that some of them you're not letting your ego go, or you're not saying, hey, I want a clean slate in terms of learning. So here's the thing. If I was in a traditional company and I moved to a new company, I would not immediately go in and say, hey, I know everything that I'm doing. I want to learn the culture. I want to learn the people. I want to be open to these things. And I will figure out, because here's the thing. I have an ownership mentality and not a participation mentality. I'm going to step back and say, where are my skills applicable? How can I help make this thing better or what have you? It's just a different mindset. So what we talked about is I want to give you some traditional examples that may help when it comes to, people say all the time, how do I help customers become promoters? They say all the time, how do I get people to participate in the Pruvit promoter side, expanding, growing, right? And the first question that I posed was, hey, when have you ever walked into a gym, right? So you're new to the gym, you're new to working out, you're new to the gym, you walk into the gym, and as soon as you get to the front desk, all of a sudden the owner comes and pushes the front desk person to the side and says, hey, I'm excited that you come into the gym today. Hey, would you be interested in owning a gym? And you'd be like, what the? I'm overweight. I have no pecs. I have no nothing. I want to work out. I want to look more into using this gym or whatever. Point being is that, would that ever happen? No, it wouldn't. It would be weird. Why? Because you had an already established interest, or you had something that you know you wanted to be better, right? Or create, or you wanted to do something to better yourself. So you said, hey, from a health standpoint, that's a gym. And there's this gym. And when you go in, if a good person, if they connect you to a good salesperson, that salesperson's asking you, so why do you want to come to the gym? What are some of the things you want to accomplish? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain muscle? What do you want to do? Great. And then they're going to take their facility and connect it to your needs, right? The things that you say you want or you need out of that thing to make yourself better. If they do a good job, they will connect that gym and say, hey, we can do the things that you need here, right? And then typically if you've gone into a new gym, what's the next thing that they try to do? You typically get a call within a couple days, and what is it? It's a personal trainer, right? Because now they want to make sure that you do really get results, and ultimately they want to sell you a package. But the point is that it's okay, because you're now putting something into it and getting a coach, getting somebody that could potentially get you one step closer to your goal. Now I'm going to give you a real life example of, I have a friend that literally was super overweight. He went to this gym, right? It was a really cool gym. He went in, he became a member of the gym. Eventually, after participating for a couple months, he said, screw this. I don't have the money, but you know what? I'm going to hire a trainer. He hired a trainer, massive, insane, crazy results. Like, this dude looked like a professional. He looked like a fitness model after like a year. Now, here's what's crazy. He then said, I love this. I love this gym. I love the community. I love the family that they've created. He got his training certification and went in there and became a trainer. He eventually became the head trainer. He later went on, as that gym was expanding, went on to actually buy and purchase that gym. So do you see the natural progression that took place? He wasn't forced. He wasn't convinced. He wasn't anything. It was his own personal conviction and experience that moved him through that process. Now, did he have people guiding him and showing him along the way? Absolutely, he did. That owner of that gym actually ended up becoming a mentor for him, and they actually went out to expand and franchise other gyms. But here's what's so crazy. In order for him to expand and franchise other gyms, he was not standing at the front desk when new members came in asking them if they would like to own one of his gym franchises. So the point is he qualified it, and that was my next question to the crowd was, hey, do you want just anybody being a personal trainer at your gym? Do you want to hire anybody? No. I want a representation of the best people, people that have conviction, people that believe in it, people that believe in themselves, people that believe in helping other people. You want the right people, right? And this is all part of the qualification piece. I want to give you another example. Say that you're like, oh my gosh, surfing looks really fun. Do you go out and buy a surf shop? Do you go out and sign up for a professional meet? No, you don't. You go rent a surfboard and you give it a try. And if you love it, you do it again. And if you really love it, you buy a surfboard. And if you really love it, you get out in the water every day and and feel like an idiot like I did over and over and over and over again. But you know what? I wanted to surf. I wanted to ride a wave. I wanted to do that. So I did it over and over and over and over again. So funny, I talked to the owner of the Rusty shop down here, and I said, hey, man, what did you used to do? I used to be a professional surfer. He's doing something that were in alignment with the things that he loved and the things that he was passionate about. I was talking to my yoga instructor today because after 6 yoga sessions here at my house overlooking the Pacific Ocean, he said, so I just want to ask you some more questions about maybe what you do. And I just said, hey, man, I've always been passionate about, this type of space, and it, opportunities came available, and hey, this is what I do, right? Because I'm passionate about it. I love it. And by the way, if you're not passionate about the things that you do, that's okay. Because this is something I learned from a mentor as well. Is he said, Bryan, most of the businesses that I've run, I was never passionate about. They were never really exciting. They were like selling home replacement stuff or whatever. But he said, you know what I was passionate about is my goals. I was passionate about changing my family's future. I was passionate about putting my kids in private school. I was passionate about living a life that other people wouldn't live. I was passionate about taking vacations and taking my family on vacation. Like he said, you don't necessarily have to be, Steve Jobs and be super passionate about the thing that you're doing. But if you're not, you better be passionate about your goals and your outcomes and the things that you want to accomplish. That's another thing. Now, last one is this, and some will agree with me. And I'm actually looking at I'm peeking here at Katie Rollins because I know that we've actually had this conversation. I'm going to look at Alexis Brady as well. Every book, and I've read probably in the last year 5 books on investing. And what is the number one rule of investing in even just the stock market? It's knowing what you're investing in. They say, hey, listen, don't invest in something that you're not participating. After I read my very first investment book, I went and it says, invest in things that you're passionate about. Invest in things that you know about in some way, shape, or form. And I'm like, I went and invested in Marriott because I always stay at Marriott. I'm like one of their biggest customers. So I'm like, I should get a little ownership in this. I invested in Textron, which makes all my ATVs that I have in Alaska. Because I'm like, I'm already giving them money. I know about it, or I know the inner workings of some of this. I'm going to invest in it. The point is that you want people that are vested into the thing. What is the thing? It's the bit. We want people to participate in this and be passionate about the goals and outcomes they have or the actual thing that they're doing, so that they want and they apply and they do that thing for a long time, right? And we want them to have success in doing that. Now, I want you to think about this. 9 out of every 10 businesses fail. And most of those are businesses that people are investing $250,000 in. None of you invested $250,000 to be part of Pruvit and be a prover right now. However, if you did, do you think that your mindset would be different? Right now, if I had all of you send me $250,000 and said, hey, when you make it to rank 10, I'm going to send this money back. I'm going to send this money back to you once you hit rank 10. Would your commitment or, oh, there's a show that I really like that's on, and I know I need to be doing my DMO, but this show, like, here's the bottom line. Right now, you don't have anything invested. And unfortunately, your mindset is of participation and not ownership. So it's easy to go watch the show and forego the action required in order for you to meet your outcomes, meet your goals, right? Like, do the thing that you're passionate about. It's easy. Little roadblock comes. Here's the thing. It's a big one. It's, oh my God, my best friend's having a wedding or this or that or the other thing. It's so funny where somebody that invested, and I know this because I've had friends that have missed their friends' weddings or they've missed these big events and they're like, that's so rude. Well, they weren't just asking 3 days off of work. They didn't have, like, they ran the business. They had $1 million invested. They were probably still at the point where they weren't profitable. What did Grant Cardone say? He said, when I left my job and I started my business, I thought in 3 months I would be back to where I was income-wise. He said it was 3 years. And if you listen to some of the stories he tells, if you've ever been on his podcast or whatever, he says, listen, I had to forgo the things that before were easy for me to do, or it was okay, or it was like, here's what I'm going to leave you with because I'm already over time, and I apologize. But I'm just going to tell you, once you commit to true ownership and an ownership mindset, what comes along with it is you're going to read more. You're going to be very cautious. You're going to be very cautious about who you associate with. You're going to keep your association a lot tighter. It's like as a byproduct, we say, hey, listen, don't change your diet because you're going to notice when you start drinking ketones, you're naturally going to start moving into your native. You're going to start participating in actions and activities and things that you otherwise wouldn't do. It's the same thing when you make the shift in your business that you want to own instead of participate. You'll start thinking differently. You'll start filtering decisions differently. Different things will happen. And now it's literally, that's where the biggest gap is going to be. It's going to be challenging. When you decide to own it, you are going to be on the out crowd before you're ever in the in crowd. I have an event at my house this weekend with a bunch of people. And you know what? A majority of those people are people that they didn't necessarily make fun of me when I decided to go down this path. But you know what? They didn't really support me either. They were kind of, let's see when this dude fails. I am so excited to invite them into my life now and show them that, hey, you were an idiot by no, not really, but there's a little bit, I got to let that go. Gratitude, be okay, right? No. Point is that you're going to be part of the out crowd before you're part of the in crowd. It's going to get harder before it gets easier when you decide to make this decision. I will tell you, it's a lot easier for y'all to continue to participate. It doesn't hurt as bad. You're not going to lose as many friends. You're not going to do anything. But when you decide to own the way Katie Rollins did, when you decide to own the way Ken Murphy did. When you decide to own the way Nick and I have a lot of mutual association. We have a lot of mutual friends. And so we hear a lot of mutual shit. And I hear people talking shit about Nick, but you know what? I'm like, I love it because I know that Nick is making an impact because not everybody agrees with him. Not everybody supports him. Not everybody I love it. That's an indicator that, hey, if you're doing, I learned this is the last thing I'll tell you. If you want to know if you're making the right decision or not, go ask 10 people that aren't involved in anything life-changing that are just doing the day in and day out. Ask 10 people what their opinion on the matter is, and whatever the majority tell you, you do the complete opposite, and I guarantee you it's the right decision. Guarantee you it's the right decision. So tomorrow, what we're going to do, I apologize. I went a little bit over time, but Nick gave me too much time, which is always going to be a problem with me if you do that. So with that being said, tomorrow is going to be true application. I'm going to help you save a lot of time, a lot of energy, effort, and resources with the application that I'm going to show you tomorrow. We're going to talk about how to take your mindset and start to filter and qualify the right people to build the type of business that you want to build in order to get the outcomes and the goals that you've set for yourself. And then lastly, I'm going to show you ultimately what that actually looks like in your business and how to apply it. So with that, sorry I took a little bit of time. It's been a while since I hung out with y'all. I'm going to turn it back to Nick.
That was straight fire, Brian. You could talk all day. I wouldn't mind. But guys, everything he says, success leaves clues. We say this all the time. I'm up in my office now. There's a bookshelf full of books behind me. I have a stack of books because my bookshelf's too small. I have a stack of books in the corner because I need a new bookshelf or more bookshelves. The biggest change going from the employee to the owner of this business was reading. My audiobook library is pages and pages long. It would take me 10 screenshots to send you all the books I've read. It's huge. And there's no 50 Shades of Grey. There's no fiction books. There's no romance novels. There's no BS. These are all success. Elon Musk, Tom Brady. These are all books of successful people. Grant Cardone, John Maxwell, Think and Grow Rich. The library is full of mindset, how to do what we do. And like Brian said, we'll learn the tactics and the techniques as we go. It's funny, yesterday in my time hop, or last week in my time hop, it showed up, my first keto workshop that I ever hosted on my own. There were 3 people in the crowd. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just did it and did it and did it. And it's just go take the massive action, read the books, get on these Zoom trainings. We peaked at 149 today. I'm giving you guys the same call to action. We need 300 people on tomorrow. Everybody get one person. Honestly, in the chat, if you've been inviting and you've successfully got one person on from Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to today, drop your name in the chat. I want to give you a shout out, and then we're going to wrap this call. And if nobody gets in the chat, we got to get focused. Tiffany said, me. Kelsey, I have. Kayla, this is the ownership part. Katie Rollins, I got new people on. Katie Estrada, me. Katie Rollins, sorry so much capital letters. It's okay. Salma Leda, me. Jesse Anderson, me. Mick from Canada, me. Jody, me. Bofo, the print's so small I can't read these. Samantha Shear, Missy Ewing, Melissa Borgen. Yeah, guys, there should be 150 comments in there. If we are owning this and playing full out, we should have new people on. Everybody just bring one. It's not that difficult. I'm sure Bryon Jaymes will have one on here tomorrow. Why? Because Bryon Jaymes owns it. I know Katie Rollins will have one more on tomorrow because Katie Rollins owns it. We got to just get out of our own way. That's the big thing. So call to action, one new person on from each of us. Let's shoot for 298 people tomorrow. And let's finish rocking. Let's get the keto up that you got in people's hands. Start getting it sold. Start getting it out. So when it arrives, you can deliver it. And we will see you guys here tomorrow. Tomorrow, Bryon Jaymes, Ultimate Prover Part 2. And we will see you tomorrow.